Hi, Rachel. I want to talk to you about a recent case that just came out of the Northern District of Oklahoma, and it was a case against the Unum Disability Insurance Company. And I know it was a case that dealt with a pharmacist and a problem with drug addiction, or not necessarily a drug addiction, but taking narcotics for pain. And so,
Right.
can you give us the background on the case and what the court did with this case?
Sure. This is a case that a pharmacist that worked for CVS. She fell and broke her tailbone and was in a lot of pain. So her doctor prescribed prescription pain medication for her to take, which were narcotics, for quite some time, and her pain still persisted, so she was still taking the pain medication. She had a claim with Unum. They had paid her long-term disability benefits for a few months, and then they decided they were going to cut her off because they determined that she was no longer physically unable to do her job and didn't have any cognitive issues that prevented her from working. So they cut her off, and she does an appeal. They deny the appeal. They go to court. They had argued that her doctor, yes, even though the doctor kept her on the narcotics, they said that that wasn't enough to prevent her from being able to do the material substantial duties of a pharmacist. The plaintiff's attorney obviously argued that that wasn't correct because a pharmacist has to be with it. They have to be on the ball. If they make mistakes, it can take another person's life. If they dispense the wrong medication, if they give, of the wrong dosage, this could severely damage or hurt somebody.
Wasn't there one of the key things, and we see this with a lot of doctors and business professionals and medical professionals, that there was a medical licensing code in Oklahoma that said that if you are a pharmacist and you're taking narcotics, then you can't administer drugs for other people.
Correct. You're not permitted to work as a pharmacist if you're taking narcotics in the state of Oklahoma.
Was Unum advised of that, and what was their reply?
Yes, and they did not take that into consideration. As a matter of fact, even CVS, her employer, has a policy that they will not allow their pharmacists to work as a pharmacist if they're on narcotics. So not only did they have Oklahoma code, they had CVS policy, and she couldn't even work.
We hear stories all the time, well, not all the time, but we've heard stories about somebody went to the pharmacy, they got the wrong prescription, and then something happens to them. Sometimes they die, sometimes they have a bad allergic reaction. Yet Unum says, they have a claimant that says, look, I'm on these narcotics for pain, I'm having cognitive difficulties doing my job, plus the state law says you can't be on narcotics and prescribe it, and the employer says you can't be on narcotics and prescribe drugs, yet Unum says, no, you're fine.
Right.
Okay, so what did the court do?
The court disagreed with Unum. They actually had a pretty hard time with Unum's decision. They said they couldn't believe that Unum would put this doctor back into the workplace.
Pharmacist.
Oh, sorry, yeah. The pharmacist back into the workplace and put the customers at risk, because this could cause risk or death to somebody. So they said absolutely this was an unreasonable decision, that it was arbitrary and capricious, and they kicked it back to Unum to decide if she was still disabled.
Okay. So in the end, this claimant's going to end up getting paid her benefits. Okay. So this was a great victory for a claimant. It showed this is typical Unum behavior. Unfortunately, like, we're going to do what we want to do. We don't care what a particular law is. We don't care what your employer said. Our doctor looked at your records and said there should be nothing wrong with you. And, I don't know when it's going to I know it's never going to stop with Unum. They're going to listen to their doctor and, unfortunately, very often not respect the opinions of a treating doctor. So This is the battle we do every day. But, Unum can run, but they can't hide, because the courts aren't going to put up necessarily with their nonsense.
Nope.
So if you have a Unum claim, no matter what stage, applying, an appeal, a lawsuit, feel free to call any of our lawyers. We'll always offer you a free consultation. We're able to help you anywhere in the country, and we look forward to the opportunity to speak with you.